Hello and welcome to the district. My name is Jana Stevens. I'm the district administrator here in Superior. And today I've asked Tom Johnson to join us. Tom is our liaison officer here at our high school. So welcome to the program, Tom.
Thank you.
Well, we've been asked to talk about some of the safety measures that we have put in place since the tragedy that happened at Newtown. So we're going to talk about what we're doing here in our own school district and what has already happened. So, Tom, in the past, we've always had school crisis plans. That's not something we quickly put together. So those have been a part of our district for years.
Yes.
Can you talk about how do you practice those here at the high school?
Well, we have a series of different types of lockdowns. It'll be an announced drill, so there'll be an announcement made. It'll be a hold, lock, secure, or whatever it is. Excuse me, I turn this other radio down. And then when we go into lockdown, the administration and myself will check to make sure the doors and everything are secured and safe. Now, there could be, because of an active shooter, worst case scenario. It could be a chemical spill, could be a medical emergency, it could be some other natural disaster. It's not always an active shooter type drill, but now those things become more on our minds as of recent events.
Right, absolutely. So those things are practiced not only at our high school, but at all of our buildings across the district. As I said, we have put some safety measures in place in the past. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we already had in place and then the new measures that we have. So one of the things we have, we put a lot of cameras in place. Can you give some history behind how did we get the cameras in place for some video footage?
Well, at the high school, we had already, it's some years ago now, we had talked about getting some surveillance cameras. And one year was homecoming, and we had a bomb threat scrawled on our outside door and wall actually. That came, and as a result of that, that kind of put a little more priority to getting security cameras. So at that point, we were able to, we've gone like 3 phases of cameras. So we added a number of cameras outdoor and some indoor as well we could afford. And we had some grant monies and other things to help cover that. And then since that time, we've added additional cameras, and now as technology becomes more higher, digital cameras and other technology has improved. And so we have some cameras that have gone bad over the years. We've replaced them with the most new and current. We now have over 80 cameras in our building that watches inside and outside of our school here at Superior High School.
Right, and we do have cameras at all of our buildings. And again, the purpose is to see what's happening, to identify somebody that might be making bad choices, and also to be as safe as we can. But at some of our buildings, we have something that we don't have at our high school, or at our middle school, or at Northern Lights. And I'll talk about what that is, but what we're going to do about making sure those buildings have that as well. What I'm talking about is a buzzer entry system. How that works is if you go to one of our elementaries that is equipped, you have to go to a buzzer, push the buzzer, there's a camera that's on you, and then you're allowed to be into the building. Now, we've got that, but the system is outdated. It works, but it's outdated. What we're going to do next is actually put that in all of our buildings. And again, the 3 that don't have any buzzer system are Northern Lights, our middle school, and our high school. And we're going to narrow the ability to come into the building or access down to 2 points. So can you talk a little bit about here at the high school as we're working through this process and ordering this new equipment, what do you think that's going to mean for the high school?
Well, it'll mean an additional level of security. The 2 doors that we're looking at right now are the B1 door, or the door by the ramp by the teacher's lounge. And the other will be the front main entrance on Catlin Avenue. And what will, like you had said, there's going to be a buzzer, but there will also be an intercom so a person can communicate, push the button, who are you? So if there's questions from the person that has to release the door, they can say, do you have some identification, for an example? Who are you here to see? More than just a face. And then they'll be buzzed in and then be allowed to go pick up a visitor identification badge from the office and proceed to their destination.
Excellent. And I'm glad you brought up the visitor identification. All of us have badges that we're supposed to wear if we're employees in the district. We also require visitors to stop into the main office, check in, and get a visitor's pass. So sometimes we have people that choose not to stop into our main office. The buzzers will help force that issue more. But in addition, it'll be as we see people that are in our building that may be there without some kind of a pass, we can stop and say, have you checked in at the office? What's your purpose to be in the building? So another safety measure that we've had in place, but we're going to make sure we heighten that area.
Yes.
One of the things they've done at the high school that now we've decided we really need to expand to the other areas is the walkie-talkie system. Can you talk about how that has been at our high school?
It is. We were one of the pioneers. I have an example of a radio here, a school radio. Sometimes if you just get a walkie-talkie, like for hunting, other purposes, they have limited value and use, especially when you get into an area with a lot of metal and resistance. And so when the high school put in their system, they use a repeater system, which pretty much means when I key the microphone, it goes from the antenna to a repeater up on the roof, and then it gets more powerful, and so we have a lot better coverage. And so that's the system that we have and have had presently. They're very good. You can hear from several miles away and communicate. We have a dedicated line for ours at the high school. There's one at the middle school. And there's thoughts of maybe even going with a district-wide emergency channel, and which would have more power to be able to communicate during a crisis to other buildings and people in the district. These are an invaluable tool to have not only with our administrators, our offices. I carry one all the time, but soon then our custodians and engineers will also have them, because not always is it like I say, the worst case scenario, active shooter. There can be other crises and things that happen. We have our buildings open almost every day of the week, and we have stuff here in the evenings. There could be a spill, there could be some other emergency. And so having this will be able to communicate a whole lot better than what we did. And the plan is to have people at the school district office, like yourself in your building, and at the police department, have radios and cradles so that they can too monitor any sort of crisis or special event that needs attention here at the high school or the other schools.
Right. So it's an additional precaution that we see has been effective here that we're going to expand upon, and I think it'll be a good measure. One of the other reasons we talked about a radio is in the past when we have even done practice lockdown and for some reason a message has gotten out that there has an actual emergency, we found that cell phones jam, that you can't get any messages through. And while that happens with our cell phones and some of the phone systems go down, we didn't have any problem with the radio. So again, it's a better communication tool in the event of some kind of an emergency.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So those are a few of the things that we're doing. In addition to those measures, and I'm just going to highlight again the new buzzer systems, more of the radios, practicing our crisis plans and practicing a lockdown. We also have great support from our police department and our sheriff's department. They've made some modifications to how they operate daily, so we'll be seeing them as more of a presence around our buildings. And I don't know if you want to say anything special about that. What, Aaron?
Yeah, well, yeah. Just today, as a matter of fact, one of our officers, our police chief, and after meeting with others, and including with the district, have decided, and we did this some years ago as well, to have our police more often in the buildings and on the perimeter. So people will see the police, besides the assigned liaison officer like myself here, in the building. You'll see officers walking in the halls. It's not because there's a problem, it's just we have a lot of officers that didn't go to school here, for an example. They don't know the layout of the building. And so we're encouraging, and actually the officers are being directed to spend some more time on the perimeters, the parking lots, the layout, physical of the building, and inside just as to walk and meet and greet and talk to people. And that is going to happen. It's happening already as of today, and it'll be continued on till further notice. So we're going to have more police presence in the schools.
And I just want to say we've had such good support from the police department as we've gone through reviewing all of our plans. So it's good to know we have a good collaborative relationship. But I do want to highlight our sheriff's department, because we do have one of our schools is in the country. It's not in the city jurisdiction. So we do have the support also of the deputies and sheriffs to be out at our Four Corners Elementary. Same kind of idea, making sure they're going by a little more often. But you can also feel comfortable knowing that if there was some kind of an emergency at Four Corners, it doesn't mean that the Superior Police Department can't support them. There was some misinformation out there. simply not true. We just get calls from the Sheriff's Department. They ask for the support of the Superior Police Department, and that does move forward. So again, we've got a lot of safety measures in place. We had a lot in place before this, but I think we're doing the best we can to make sure we have a safe environment for our kids and our staff so they can work and learn appropriately. Mm-hmm. Other things that you would like to add?
Well, just one other thing too is that in addition to the stuff we're going to be doing here at the school, in the event of a natural disaster or some other type of crisis, the city and police department have and will be continuing to look and monitor and do additional training. If there were a casualty or some kind of a crisis event here at the school, for an example, you've got about 1,500 sets of parents, you've got other people trying to get here. It could be that we need to barricade. And so what does that mean? What does that look like? What it means is that the police will, again, and we have some plans, but there's time to renew and refresh with those again, with EMS, the Emergency Medical System, and with utility companies, with the Sheriff's Department, and with others to coordinate, to have command posts and to have areas for communication. Where do people meet up? How is that done? How does that look? So all of those things outside of just this building in a citywide thing is being looked at and will continue to be looked at and monitored. I'll be part of that conversation with the chief and the others in the near future as we improve those facilities and plans as well.
Excellent, good. One final thought I have is just to remind anybody in the community, staff that may be watching, if you do get some information about something you think could be potentially harmful, anything that you're thinking the district needs to know, that please just call to let us know. We investigate every rumor in coordination with the police department. I don't want people to think that we pass off some things. We look into every single thing, and we'll continue to do that. But we need people to let us know if they're aware of something that may be happening in the community so we can ensure that we have safe buildings and our staff and students are taken care of.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that part because that's something that I neglected to think of during this most recent threat that we had just before the holidays, which turned out to be nothing, but we certainly took it seriously. One of the things, looking back in retrospect and doing some debriefing, is how pleased and how happy I was with the amount of students that came forward, not only just to me personally, yes, but to staff and to others, and said, look, I've got this worry, I've got this concern, this is what I'm seeing on Facebook, what have you. So the students have really been doing what we've been asking them all along to do is, hey, if you're hearing something, let us know. In addition to that, all of us here in the building were inundated with a lot of phone calls and even parents coming to visit. They didn't even want to call, they just wanted to come up and say, this is what I've heard. And we were able to thank them, assure them, and I think we did an excellent job in what we did. We can always improve, and we'll try to improve. But I think what it shows is students are serious about this, as is the community, and we will work together and make sure that we're doing everything humanly possible to try to eliminate any kind of crisis or to get on it should it happen.
Excellent, good. Well, on that note, I think we'll sign off. I want to thank you for joining the district. I hope this helped you to get a better idea on all the safety measures we've had in place, things we're going to heighten to ensure that we're doing the best we can do. If you do have any other programs or issues you'd like to know more about, like we did today, please just call the board office, let us know, and we will do a program on that issue to get more information out to the public. So thanks for joining us on the district, and thanks, Tom, for joining me today.
You're very welcome. Thank you.